What's up? What's
Ride-alongs, ride-alongs, ride-alongs. Welcome.
Hello,
So
everybody.
listen, hope everybody had a good week. Hope everybody had a good weekend.
Yep.
Raiders still suck. Sorry to say that, but they do. Yeah. I know it's a
They
tough
might
one.
win. They might
Yeah,
win eventually.
exactly.
I feel for you, G. I root for them every time.
I appreciate it. And you maybe you're saying maybe I can give some of my tickets away to some of our viewers. Hell, I might just do that because I'm not going to the goddamn games next year. Who knows?
There you go. You hear that? You all
Yeah,
might get lucky.
yeah.
Might get some tickets. Gonzo's got good seats too.
Spend some money. Support
You
our
did.
our state.
That
Yeah,
was a good investment though.
yeah. It is.
It's
It
always
is.
good. Always good to buy seats,
Yeah, for sure.
especially when you
So
own them
let's.
forever.
I know,
Can
30 years, bro.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
Let me turn my little chat thing
can
on so I can try to see something. I don't think I will
yeah,
be able to.
and I apologize, everybody. My computer just died. I had to get a backup computer real quick, so
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
trying to get everything all
See?
settled. Can you guys see the comments at all? B, do you have your iPad?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. All
So,
right.
Steve, you got anything you want to say? You good?
I did want to give a thank you to Kathy at Raw Bath and Beauty. We just got your package today. I took photos just before. I didn't have a chance to send them to the guys, but she sent us some cool stuff that I will share with you guys
Cool.
after the show. So thank you very much, Kathy, for the
Thank you,
little care
Kathy.
package. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Kathy.
And just thank you to all the ride-alongs for riding along, and we hope you enjoy. I've got another video. Hopefully, I'm going to post tomorrow. That's a little spicy for the members.
Yeah,
So
Ooh.
yeah,
I'm going
yeah.
to hide myself and let you guys start, and I'm still doing some stuff here in the background. So
Thanks, Steve.
Copy that, Steve-O. Copy that.
Brian, you got anything you want to clear off? Get off your chest?
No, no. Life is
Hey,
good. I hope life is good for all the ride-alongs and all the road dogs out there.
did you see, I'm sorry, B, but did you see that Karen Reed's court case went to the Supreme Court today?
I did. Yeah,
Trying to see if they can get a mistrial or just dropped it, right? Drop it.
yeah, yeah. It's not going to happen, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll
Well,
see.
listen, on this today's episode, 122 episode now.
Is that where we're at?
No.
Oh, okay.
So Delphi murder cases.
Delphi,
They've been,
Indiana.
yeah, they've been. The people have spoken and they want us to do a review on that, but it's kind of hard to do because it's not televised.
It's very frustrating the more I look into it, but it's a I don't want to say it's a fascinating case because it's a shame. Obviously, two girls lost their lives.
Absolutely,
So
young
I mean,
girls.
it's horrible, it's disgusting, you know. But the case itself is just, and as we dig into it tonight a little bit, yeah, it's very interesting. I had some questions of my own that we'll get into at the end. Um, but let me just start off. Let me give like just a little reminder of everybody of what the Delphi case was. It was Abigail and Liberty. They were 13 and 14 years old. Okay, they were last seen on the Manan High Bridge on February 13th, 2017. Now, their bodies were found on February 14th, 2017, the next day. The suspect right now is Richard Allen. They called him the bridge guy at first because on Liberty's phone at 2:13 in the afternoon, she actually pulled out her phone and got a picture and a little bit of video of the guy. Not saying it was Richard, it was some guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he approaches the teens and he looks at them and he says, "Down the hill, guys." So he gives them a direction. Again, I've always told my kids, my wife, don't ever listen to somebody, don't ever follow anybody, don't ever let them take you anywhere. You fight to the death right there. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So once the crime had occurred, the police put out some sketches. Okay. Sketch artists came in and they put sketches out over the entire area. Interviews were conducted. Some of the problems with the sketches is that Richard is 5'4". Okay. Some of the people that they interviewed said that the suspect was anywhere from 6 foot to like 6'5", and some people said he was very young and very good looking, very attractive. So that's the opposite of Richard. You know, Richard's a small guy.
So there's no solid witnesses that puts him at the location.
There's no solid witnesses. But as they did as they conducted the interviews, Richard himself told the police, I'll be interviewed. I was down in that area from 1:30 to 3:30 that afternoon. So they were like, okay. So they came in, they interviewed him, and then they let him go. Right?
Mhm.
He has no priors at all. Nothing.
Mhm.
Zero. Never been in trouble his whole life. So, and he's a pharmacy tech at the CVS right there in town. So now we got 5 years, right? 5 years go by.
This happened 2017, right?
2017. So now it's actually four years go by. And a lot of people are telling them it's probably Richard. It's probably Richard. So after the 4 years, they turned their attention back to Richard because again, he admitted that he was in the area. And once they focused on him, it seems as if it went real quick. It seems like they found like they had their man and everything was just full steam ahead.
You think that the public was demanding of the sheriff to hurry and arrest?
Yeah, I think just like in anything, when you have the murder, when you have the lives taken of two young women, yeah, people are angry. The family's
Thi-
upset, rightfully so. Everybody's upset. It's a heinous crime. So yeah, I could see that them putting pressure on the sheriff. Yeah,
This is big news because it's a small town.
yeah. There's only like 10. How many, Melissa? How many people were in there? I think it was like 3,000 or 4,000
Yeah,
people. So
that's
that's a small town. I
huge
mean,
news.
Canton was like 25,000,
Yeah,
and this is three. This is teeny. So
yeah,
this will wreck the entire town.
yeah.
Um, so once they seemed to hone in on Richard, it was like that was it. So once they started interviewing him again, okay, they said they identified his vehicle, which he said he was there anyway. So
Yep.
his car would obviously be there.
Yep.
They found an unspent 40 caliber bullet, right? So an unspent cartridge means it's just a regular bullet, not fired, right? Still in the casing. They found that about 6 inches from the girls, in between their legs, down by their feet, in
Okay.
between the two girls.
Yeah.
Right. So the bullet's just sitting there. It wasn't fired, nothing. It just sitting there. And if Richard says that he travels that area all the time and he does carry a gun with him all the time and he shoots out there, I could see where a bullet could fall,
Yeah.
100%. They did a search warrant for his house and they found the gun. Right. They found the gun that matched this 40 cal that matched the bullet. They matched the bullet though, but it was never fired. They said it was just the same linings on the casings that were on the other bullets. So,
So let me get this right. If I remember correctly, they sent the case the bullet to the Idaho State Police, and they were trying to match it with his gun. The only way that they could match it is if they actually spent the bullet. That means it was fired. When you fire a bullet, it expands into the cylinder, causing certain identical markings specific to that gun.
Correct.
Right?
And that's what I was getting to. They're saying it matched the gun before it was actually ever fired. But then they're saying I read that they couldn't get it to match the gun until it was fired.
Right.
So there's some inconsistencies. You know what I mean? If you're saying it matches the gun without being fired, then it should match the gun without being fired. Now
Right.
you're telling me that you had to fire it to get it to match, and that's a little inconsistent, for court.
A little bit of a
Um,
stretch.
yeah. So after they interviewed him at this time, and they found the gun in his house, they placed him under arrest. Right? He
Wow.
was under arrest for the murder of the two girls. Um, he was moved to a different jail. So they arrested him and they booked him into the small little jail. They moved him to another jail out of state where he remained in solitary confinement for 13 months.
Nope. Was it jail or prison?
They said jail, but either
Okay.
way, jail,
Okay.
prison.
Okay.
But he was in solitary for 13 months. So the average time from getting arrested to having your bail set is 48 to 72 hours, right? Usually, by law, 2 to 3 days, you're going to get bail. His bail, he didn't have a bail hearing for almost 8 months.
The chat's saying that he's in prison.
Okay, prison. So he got moved to prison where he was in solitary confinement, yeah, for 13 months. So he became erratic. His mental awareness started to deteriorate. He became like psychotic. He started peeing on everything. He started eating his own feces. Um, he just started doing all kinds of weird, crazy stuff. Which, I mean, if you're by yourself, I mean, humans are social creatures. You're by yourself for 13 months. That's a long time to not see any. I mean, the family couldn't see him. Nobody could see him. So that's a little odd. I don't understand why they did that. That seems to me a bit extreme.
Well, the thing is, too, Brian, is sometimes when that long of a period of time, you start believing what you're being told.
Yeah, yeah. You start going crazy like that, your mind can shift, and you can start believing almost anything.
Let me,
And not only
let me.
that, but he started feeling, from what I read, Richard said that he said it would be best on his family and all of the future of his family's life if he just confessed and make it all stop. So he was like, I just want it to go away. I just want it to stop.
Yeah.
I want my family to stop being tortured by the press. Blah blah blah. You know what? I'll just say I did it.
Hey, Steve, can you put that picture of him deteriorated in the prison? So this is before, during, and after, man. Look how he
Yeah,
just wasted away, man.
yeah, yeah. He lost a lot of weight. Yeah, he probably wasn't eating. He was probably going crazy. I mean, that's what happens.
Well, from a
Um,
guy that has no criminal history, thrown into a prison, solitary confinement for 13 months, that's going to mess with you. I don't
right.
care who you are.
Well, the state was saying that Richard knew things that only the killer would know, but we don't know what they are because they weren't released. So, and then the defense argued the process was meant to break Richard, right? So the reason they did that to him was to literally break him and to just basically ruin his life.
Hey,
Um, and the judge, from what I'm hearing, is showing a lot of disdain for Richard. She's very hostile towards the defense. She's not liking it very much. So she's making the courtroom very
Crystal.
yeah, it's not a comfortable place. They said that they've been skipping lunches. They get very few breaks. You have to stand in line in the beginning. You got to get there early. They only let like 22 people in. So
Dude, let
uh,
me ask, let me go back a little bit, Brian. Going back
hold on,
to
I'm not done yet because we got to go into the DNA.
okay.
So Abigail had a hair in her hand, but it was not Richard's hand. Okay, it's a female hair, right? So they think it's a possible relative of her or Libby. Um, But let's see here. Read my
Oh
handwriting here.
boy. Old man glasses.
Got to put on my old man glasses. So from what I read, it seems as if, though, kind of like with Karen, it's almost like they're gonna make Richard fit the narrative. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? They're gonna arrange the narrative to make sure Richard fits in there comfortably. But they're not looking at the big picture of all the evidence. It seems like they got this guy, so let's make everything fit around this guy
Yep.
because they don't have any real eyewitnesses. Everybody that they interviewed gave different shapes and sizes. Richard confessed 61 times.
Wow.
61 times he confessed, but they threw out all of them, but about like 3 or 4, because he was just talking crazy. The digital forensics is now they're really going after the phone. That there was no movement. They're saying there was no movement on the phone after a certain time. But the expert was saying that it won't track just small movements. It will track mostly steps and elevation. So if you're just moving your arm or your leg or something, like the iPhone's it's not gonna pick that up, or the your iWatch. You know what I mean?
Let me intervene there for 1 second on the timeline of the phone. So they get dropped off by the phone data at 1:49, I believe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. At 1:49. At 1:41, there's 2 Snapchat pictures that were uploaded to Snapchat. Okay.
Right.
So that was before they got dropped off. It shows the picture of them being in a car. Okay.
Right.
So, and at 2:05, another Snapchat gets uploaded. At 2:13 is when they see the man on the bridge.
Right. Man
Okay.
on the bridge.
Yep. At 2:14, someone tries to unlock the phone. At
Okay.
2:31, there's an upward climb shown on the health data. And at 2:32, the phone stops completely. So maybe
Okay.
it stops or powered off or whatever the case may be.
No,
But I
they
did
never
see a little
powered
bit of
off.
that. Okay.
Yeah, it never powered off because they're saying that the phone was reconnected to the tower at 4 a.m.
Okay.
At like 4:02 in the morning, the tower that was next to it picked up the phone again because it got disconnected. It actually picked it up, and they were saying that somebody actually plugged in earphones or headphones into the jack for about 4 hours.
What?
Now, what? Yeah. Now, whether that's true or not, but yeah, they said that somebody plugged in the headphone jack and listened to it. I have it written down here somewhere. Oh, that's an old piece of paper. But anyway, okay, so yeah, we have the phones, or Libby's phone. I don't know how much that's going to come into play, other than the picture and the video of the suspect. But when they showed that in court, everyone said that you couldn't really tell who it was. You couldn't see,
Okay.
so you can't really tell that it's not like it screams, "Hey, that's Richard Allen right there." You know what I mean?
Right.
Now let's talk about the bodies. The bodies were posed. Okay, so they were moved after their lives were taken. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
they were KILLED someplace and then moved to another place and set up and posed. So Abby had on Libby's clothes. Libby was naked, and their bodies were arranged in a certain way, and with their branches arranged in Nordic runes.
Odinism, right?
Yeah, Odinism. Yep, Odinism. The state was saying that it was camouflage, but it couldn't have been camouflage because it was just a couple of twigs, a couple of sticks. If you wanted to camouflage, they could have easily just covered the whole body with whatever's out there in the wilderness. You know what I mean? Leaves and bushes, all that. So it wasn't camouflage. I
Well,
think it was put there for a reason.
why leave them in the open?
Right, exactly. So they weren't trying to cover it. And then you have the Odinist theory, right? Men who practice Odinism. So what is Odinism? So then I had to look at that. Right.
Is it like pagan or something like that? Pagan cult?
Odinism is a white supremacist cult focused on the worship of the Norse god Odin, right? It is centered around white supremacy beliefs combined with magical elements of neo paganism. No human sacrifices are supposed to be made, though. It's never a human sacrifice, it's only animals, usually chickens, they said. Though the one depiction is Odin. I guess it's called Odin's tree, where he's pretending he slit his own throat. He's bleeding, but he's hung upside down from a tree. And the state was trying to say that the girls were kind of positioned like that. And that is what it is. Hanging from a tree versus being positioned on the ground is different. But then there is also this guy named Brad Holders,
Yeah.
who you heard about him, his son. His son was dating Williams, right? So, and from what I could find, they practice Odinism. Now I don't know if that's true or not, so I don't want to spread any rumors, but that's what I could find. Um, and that Brad, this guy, posted pictures on social media mimicking the very runes found at the crime scene for Abigail and Libby.
Now, was this before or after?
This was before.
Huh.
Found at the pictures. He posted pictures mimicking the crime scene before the. Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't know if it was before or after. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, crime scene defense says the court will be shocked at the number of clues and Easter eggs left behind in those videos before and after the murders.
Now, I do know that after the murders, there was a lot of information that was leaked,
Okay.
right? A lot of crime scene pictures were leaked. So I don't know if that played into, the copycat theory, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, this was
So,
before. If he put
okay.
out any pictures before, that would be a huge clue. And
Suspect
that
number
would be
one, right?
that'd be a big red flag. Yeah. Um, and I found out that Odinism is practiced at the Westville Corrections Facility in Indiana, where um, Richard is.
Being held
So
at.
it is something that they practice at that facility.
So let me
So
go back. Go ahead. Go ahead.
so here's my problem. Here's some of the questions that I wrote down. Where's the knife? Because
Yeah.
the murder weapon, they said it was actually maybe or probably a serrated knife, a
Right.
serrated edge. Okay, so where's the knife? You have two girls, 13 and 14. Neither one of them ran. Neither one of them fought. Okay. I've always trained my girls, all the kids that I talk to, you never go with an adult. If an adult comes up to you and says, "Come with me," no, I'm not going with you. So to me, my daughters, if the guy walked up and said, "Down the hill, guys," my daughters would have been like, "F you, man, I'm out of here," and start running or whatever. But they're not going to just walk with somebody.
Yeah.
So it's very odd that there's no blood, right? He supposedly, he cut throats, right? We
Hmm.
know how messy that is.
Yep.
Very, very, very messy. Why is there no blood on him at all? They couldn't even find a single speck of blood on him
There
or his
was a
clothes.
witness. There was a witness that said that she saw a male matching his description covered in mud and blood. Now, she couldn't
Okay.
identify that it was him, but she did say that there was a male that came out of this general area covered in mud and blood.
Okay. Well, there you go. Because it's going to be so hard to do that to two people and not get any blood on you. And I mean, and that's if they just sit there. I mean, imagine if they started fighting or trying to defend themselves, which I wish they would have. I don't know if they did, but
Yeah.
um,
Well, I do
definitely
know.
no
I,
blood. Um, yeah, well, there was no fight or flight by the girls, which sometimes would make me think maybe there was more than one person there. I'm not saying there was, but maybe if there was two or three people, they would have felt more inclined to stand there and do what they said versus just one guy. Because if it's just one guy, you just turn around and run. Kids are fast, right? And especially, and he's going to make you get naked.
yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, and most people will not get naked. And if there's only really two reasons to make somebody get naked, right? It's to
SA.
SA, and also most grown men won't fight when they're fully naked because you feel very exposed, right? You ever seen those funny videos on Instagram where a guy threatens to fight another guy and the guy's like, "Yeah, let's fight," and then he strips off and he's butt naked and the guy runs
Yep.
away? Exactly.
Yep.
Nobody wants to fight a guy who's totally naked.
Yeah.
So there's really only two reasons: SA and not let them escape, make
Yeah.
them so uncomfortable they don't want to leave.
Well, Libby, they were thinking that Libby might have been bound. Okay, so maybe that's why she couldn't run away.
But what did he use?
Well, on the guy that did the autopsy said that there was possible bounding or ligature marks around her mouth and maybe her wrists.
Yeah,
So
possible. And then what did he
right,
use though? Did he bring something
exactly.
out with him? And where's the knife? So he didn't hide the gun. He did. I mean, if he got rid of the clothes, um, yeah, it's just a lot of lack of evidence, I should say.
Well,
I'm
there's
wondering
no there.
what was the
There's,
PC? Like, let's say we're the cops going to arrest this guy, right? We're arresting Richard. What's our PC
it was
to
just the
take him
bullet.
into custody,
It
right?
was
Because
just the bullet.
probable cause exists is known to the officer. Wait, probable cause exists when the facts and circumstances known to the officer would warrant a prudent person in believing that a crime had committed and that the accused had committed it,
Right.
right? So
Yep.
facts and circumstances known to the officer, so we know, but a prudent person, a normal person with a brain. But where's the evidence? Just an unspent bullet in between their legs. I get it. It's definitely shady and weird. But is that enough to
No.
book
Well,
this
listen.
guy for murder?
You don't have any DNA.
Right? No DNA.
They didn't test the sticks that were on the girls for any DNA.
Okay, so
Okay, they didn't do that. And the way I don't know what the crime scene looked like. I understand it was pretty steep where the girls were at.
right.
So trying to court off a good location to try to even see for more evidence. From what I understand, the police did their due diligence according to what they had to do to work with to
Right.
pick up as much evidence as they could. I mean, they had
Right.
black lights out there trying to see where the blood splatter was and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that's good. That's a good sign.
they did their due diligence, but I just don't understand. There's nothing linking him to it besides that bullet.
Yeah, I mean, well, and then you have his confessions, but a confession alone is not admission alone is not guilt.
Listen, you can make anybody say they did it if the situation is correct. You know what I'm saying? If he's
Yeah,
being deprived or being mistreated or whatever the case may be, you're going to commit. You're going to say, "Hey, I did it just to get out of the situation," and like he
right.
said, save his family from future uh, criticism.
Yeah, yeah. If you're getting tortured, yeah, a lot of people will want the torturing to stop, and they'll say whatever they need to say.
Here's an
Um,
interesting fact. I don't know if you know this, but when children get abducted, they have anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of survival time.
oh yeah, yeah. Is that the average? 3 to 5?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
And these girls were located on that bridge, there's some homes around that area. So if they were scared, they could have screamed and yelled and
yeah.
did their everything they could to get away from this guy.
Yeah, I've always taught everybody, don't ever get in a car with anybody. All you ride-alongs, everybody that's watching this right now, never go someplace else with somebody. Trust me, they're gonna kill you, or they're gonna hurt you, or they're gonna do it worse. Okay, so make sure you fight to the death right there, and make the biggest scene you can right there. Because if you leave with them, it's gonna be 100 times worse.
Yeah.
100 times worse.
The jury watched a video of him. I think there were like 15 videos of him in prison. And a lot of the jurors couldn't watch it just because he was eating his poop and,
Yeah, yeah.
he
That's
was
what.
naked
Yeah,
some of the times. He's just acting 421A. 421A is mentally ill person.
yeah. What was his treatment like in prison?
Well, they were saying
Um,
that they were dragging him around and nobody said that he was getting punched or anything like, but they were just dragging him around without
well,
his consent.
yeah, we know what happens to people that hurt kids in prison.
Yep.
Okay. And if you
Yep.
don't know, America will tell you right now, it's not good.
They
Okay.
don't usually
It's
make it.
not good at all. Everything that you did, you get back done to you tenfold, and you deserve every bit of it. So anybody who hurts children usually ends up dying in jail.
Let me go back a little bit, Brian. When I said that when you're in solitary confinement for a long period of time, you start believing to what you're being told. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Now this is going to go back to our cop days. We've got two suspects. We know that they did the crime, right? Hands down, 100% they did the crime, but they're not admitting what they do, right? What they did. So you and I will stand off a little bit, discuss what we have, feed them information, let them know what we know,
Right.
and eventually they're going to confess because they're starting to think, okay, you know what, they know. Let's go ahead and confess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah.
So if these officers, these correction officers or police officers are using the same strategy and they're just earshots away from the prison. Have you been to jail, Bryon?
What?
Have you ever been to jail?
I've been to jail 1,000 times as a
No,
cop.
I mean as a as a citizen.
No.
Okay, I have, right? And after a couple days, you can hear a pin drop across the room, right? So if they're talking down the hall, knowing that he can hear them, and they're talking about what they've seen and what they heard, just the
Right.
chatter, and you keep hearing that over and over, there's a possibility that you could start believing that and saying, yeah, maybe I did do it.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You start going crazy. Anything is possible. Well, hey, let me read it. Let me read some stuff I got from the testimony.
Okay.
This was day 16. Stuart Grassian, psychiatrist and expert on solitary confinement. He told jurors that Allen's behavior and mental state while he was at Westville Correctional Facility are perfectly consistent with the effects of prolonged isolation. The former police chief, Brad Mullen, he was questioned about his apparent discrepancy in his testimony, whether he made a list of people whose interviews went missing. Eric Warren, Tennessee-based forensic consultant and crime scene reconstruction expert, he told the jurors that the prosecution's firearms examiner's methods of testing a key piece of physical evidence recovered from the crime scene was unreliable. Okay, unreliable.
So they have no evidence against him then.
Mm-hmm. Jamie Jones, Richard Allen's half-sister, testified that she was never molested by Allen. Brittany Zapanta, Allen's daughter, with his wife, Kathy, testified that she was never molested by Allen. Max Baker, employee of one of Allen's defense attorneys who compiled videos of Allen in the prison for the trial. Baker testified that he picked the videos to show the jurors the truth. And that's it. So a little bit of testimony.
I wonder why the court's not televising it. Do they not want it to go public as much as it is?
I don't know. I don't know. It's very weird because isn't Andrea Burkhart the lawyer? She had to file um, a lawsuit to get to see all the information that the court is supposed to provide to everyone, right?
Yeah.
She's suing them now to get it seen, and the judge, Dole, said that it was she was treating it like a civil matter, so nothing was able to be seen by anybody. So
Look at it be
Andrea,
civil.
I don't know, Andrea is suing, and is trying to get everything to where they can see all the evidence, because apparently at the end of the day, like, the jurors are allowed to see the evidence for like 2 or 3 minutes, and that's it. And nobody else is allowed to see it. They're not allowed to look at it. Like, it's so odd. It's so strange. Why? I don't understand the running a courtroom like that.
Did you
I
see the
don't.
picture of the judge?
Yeah. Yeah.
She looks like Auntie Bev. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. 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 Just a little darker hair. Yeah. Yeah. I don't understand where they're going and what they plan on getting from having it like this. It just doesn't seem like proper court etiquette. You know what I mean? We have courts for a reason. We all know how they run. Just keep it simple.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm. There's somebody in the chat says that she's more corrupt than Aunt Bev.
Really, I've never looked into her, but maybe I guess we should start.
I you know what? I tried to find any information about police corruption, and there is a little bit of dabble in there that they're saying that they could be a little bit of corruption because of the high extreme of this case, right? And they could be pushing something forward, an agenda that doesn't fit the narrative, and they're just trying to make it fit.
Like what? You mean like pin it on Richard?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I mean corruption. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. This seems this case is very strange. It's very strange. But
It,
I I don't know. Corruption is the right word. I don't know. I don't know because we don't have enough facts on the case. We can't see it. We can't hear it. We get no testimony. We don't get to see their body language, how they act and stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't get to see anything. So
yeah.
it's very hard and it's very frustrating to try to give a fact based opinion or an opinion from our experiences, training and experiences that we can't get.
There she is, right there.
Yeah. Oof.
So let me ask you this, Brian. Do you know what the wounds were sustained on these girls?
Yeah, they had a neck wound. Each one of them had a wound in their neck, which hit the carotid and basically,
I got some specifics here.
okay.
So let me get here to the right page. Okay, so Libby sustained 4 to 5 neck wounds. Okay.
4 to
Now
5.
those, yeah, and the doctor that performed the examination said that a couple of those had multiple slashes within the same wound. Okay,
Hmm.
and they're more about this way and one's this way. Okay, she sustained the brunt of it, the worst of it. Abby, she had one wound that was 5 centimeters long and 2 inches wide, and it was deep enough to cut all the muscles and the big vein.
Mm.
So typically, on a injury like that, 3 to 5 minutes of survival time. Now, according to this guy, this doctor, they were dead probably 40 to 41 hours prior when they found them. They
Okay.
passed. Okay, so when you sustain wounds like that, you're not gonna last long because you're scared. Your heart is pumping, dude.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
horrible way for these girls to I don't know, man. It's a bad case, and I'm wondering if they got the right guy. It doesn't look like they do.
It's tough to say. It's really tough to say. I mean, everybody wants somebody to pay for that crime.
Yeah,
Everybody wants somebody to pay, but you
yeah.
really got to make sure the right person pays, not an innocent person.
Yeah.
And again, that's where we go with the evidence, but we're not getting to see all the evidence.
What do we always say? It's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
That's right. It's what you can prove. So we need to. They actually really need to prove that he did it. And as far as I can see right now, they're not really proving that he did it. Is it suspicious? Of course. Is it, does it look like maybe he might have done it? Yeah, of course. But it's
Well,
also rare.
now that when he's in prison, he looks like a pedophile now that he's in prison. But beforehand, that first picture, yeah, those are girls right there. God
Yeah.
rest their souls.
Yeah. It's
So
just
none of
it's
these.
just it's rare that when you get a guy, he was 44 at the time or 45 at the time, now he's 52. It's just rare that you have a guy from a small town like that who's never been in trouble, never done anything his entire life. So no red flags, no clues, no nothing. And then all of a sudden, bam, he does
Dude,
something like this. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Sure it does, but it's just rare.
typically, Brian, when somebody has an infatuation with kids, they have it on their electronic devices. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nothing's been found.
Not on him. No.
The only thing
No.
that this could be is a crime of opportunity. If that's the case, that's the case, right?
It could have been. It could have been. But then how come when they searched his house, why didn't they find the bloody clothes?
Yeah.
Right? You
Or
can
anything.
find
Or
no, they didn't
anything.
find anything. The knife, where's the murder weapon, the bloody clothes, something, a drop of their blood on his shoe, like something anywhere. But they have
But
nothing.
it was a few years later after when they arrested him, right? Though it wasn't right then and there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, 4 years later. Yeah, you're right.
So
Yeah,
that's
so
he could have got rid of that shit
could have.
completely.
Yeah,
Now, this is something I need to tell you is the coroner did an SA kit on both these girls,
right,
and it was negative. But he
right,
also did say, just because it's negative doesn't mean something didn't happen.
correct. Yeah, yeah.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
it's
I'm curious to know what kind of questions we got from our viewers tonight.
why do LE push away feds help? Why does the law enforcement push away the feds help?
They
I
want to
don't
keep it
know.
in house. They want to keep it in
I
house,
don't know.
dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no reason to push it away other than they don't want you to see what's going on. Um, or that, it's an ego thing. Hey, we got it. We don't need your help. It's a double murder, or not the end of the world. We got a guy in custody. It should be open and shut case, stuff like that. But yeah, it does happen.
I'm just going over my notes, see if I have anything in here.
I can't see. Classic overthinker thought. What does that say? I can't see it. Can you see that, Gonzo?
I
Oh,
can't see anything.
Steve, where are
Steve,
you?
can you jump in here?
yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah.
Classic overthinker. She said a man called Elvis confessed. His sister went to the police station the next day. She had all the info before anything was leaked. You guys hear anything about
Wow.
that?
So I didn't read anything about anybody named Elvis. So where is this Elvis guy?
When did that happen?
She says a line of handbasket says Elvis confessed to two different sisters at different
That's
times.
two different.
Dark Willow. I believe Elvis Fields and his little friends were totally involved.
Yeah. It sounds like there was more people there. To me it doesn't sound like one guy. Why wouldn't they just run?
Well, you don't run and you don't call for help if you know the person.
That's true. That is true. I don't know. And then you got this whole Odin thing.
Now, the
I
girls
don't.
did have some scratches around their mouth, so it could have been covering their mouth and being held. Yeah.
Yeah, but scratches. I mean, your hands are soft. Unless
Yeah, but
nails.
listen, teenage kids aren't going to groom their nails, bro. You know what
That's
I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah, teenage kids are usually pretty gross.
Hey guys, we got a super chat from
Getting rid of
WW.
nails killed.
Thank you, Debbie.
She says he was in Westville Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison, in solitary under S watch for 13 months.
Yep.
Hey, let me tell you, when I was in jail for 5 days, those were the longest 5 days of my life.
Damn, you did a stint?
I did. You're rolling with the thug, son.
Damn, I don't see no teardrops on your eyes. What's up?
It
5
wasn't that
days.
bad.
Woo!
It was
I hope you weren't made a husband in 5 days, Gonzo.
I learned my lesson.
I bet you did. Somebody
LJ
said,
Arachnid is back in the chat, and she says she's Norse pagan. Odinism was hijacked by supremacy.
Oh.
so it was hijacked, huh? Oh, okay. But from everything that I read, they don't sacrifice humans, though. So it wouldn't be a ritual for them to sacrifice the two girls. But people go crazy and they do dumb stuff. So
I want to know who Elvis is. Does he live in the town? Is he a vagabond? Who is Elvis? We need to find that out.
we'll have to find out. And why didn't the police look into him? But again, if you run around just confessing to murders, I mean, they're going to think you're crazy. They're not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
It's actually a
Copycat.
pretty good tactic.
I
What does that say?
Mr. Lally says Elvis also said that if his DNA was found on the girls, Would he be in trouble if he could explain it?
Yeah, he would be in big trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say
Mine
you'd
was
be in.
kind of the same thing from Classic Overthinker. If my spit is found on the body, would I have a good excuse will I be in trouble? Apparently,
Mhm.
Elvis was spitting on him.
Huh.
There's so much information on this case out there by people who are actually in the courthouse. And the thing about information, Brian and Steve, you guys, it's it's about how you perceive it, right? It's perspective on how you take it, how I take it, and how Steve takes it. It's like reading the Bible. It means the same to everybody, but it might mean something different to me than to you, Brian, and to you, Steve. Right? So it's hard to interpret
Interpretation.
all that information into one unified line and story, right?
Right. Well, the Bible's pretty specific, but I know
Yeah,
what you
but
said.
sometimes I have to read it twice to understand what it means.
Yeah, sometimes a passage can mean something to you, even though taken out of context. But as long as you're reading it and it's reaching you.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody was
Sorry, guys.
mentioning something about the Leos being killed. Have you guys seen any law enforcement officers being whacked out there in America? I haven't
I
seen any.
haven't. I haven't.
I haven't. Mm-mm.
I've been so locked into this case trying to figure out what I have. I haven't had much time to see anything else.
We got a couple
Uh,
more super chats, guys. We got from Mag in Florida, $5. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Free Karen Reed. She says, "Hi, late. Have you seen his mugshot versus current photo?" Which actually we did. We had that up on the screen a little earlier, but there it is again for
Yep.
people that joined late.
Yeah.
Guys, we're talking about this happening to him while he's in that solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat.
He's got to have lost 50 pounds, 40, 50 pounds.
How much time was he in there? 13 months?
13
13
months.
months.
Somebody says an FBI agent was killed.
Oh,
Big super chat from Don Burke, $50. Thank you, Don.
Whoa.
damn. From
She
who?
says,
From
"Watch
Dawn?
Don Burke." She
I
says,
can't.
Thank
"Watch
you, Don.
Defense Diaries. Bob has covered this case from the beginning."
Mm.
All right. Dawn Burke. Thank you, Dawn.
So from what I understand, he gave that information to the police, right? Say, yeah, hey, I was there that day. They filed that information, and when they started getting more information, like you're saying, Brian, they went back through their records and they said, "Oh, this guy was here. Let's go take a closer look at him."
Yeah.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
they had that bullet in their possession. Where did they get the PC, like you're saying, to say, "Hey, let's go do a search warrant for your house"? Maybe they asked him, "Hey, do you have a 45 caliber handgun?" Right? He
Yeah.
said, "Yeah."
40 cal.
Right? 40.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that could be more reasonable suspicion to build on the PC, right?
Yeah. But probable cause is to, I don't know. Like to me, it just doesn't seem like it's really enough.
Yeah,
Just
but
having
Brian,
a just having a
he
bullet.
he could just say, "Yeah."
This is before he went crazy, before the solitary confinement, everything. All they basically had, all right, we found a bullet next to some dead bodies.
All he has to say is, "Hey, let me search your house." He could give consent and say, "Yeah, go ahead. I have nothing to hide. If I have nothing to
He
hide, go
could.
ahead and look." Right?
Yeah. Well, they
And they
said they
come
got a
up,
search warrant, so
well, that's a CYA thing, right?
that is, yeah, yeah.
Hey,
So
guys,
lo
we
and
got another.
behold,
Sorry, we got another super
look,
chat from Debbie W, $5. Thank you.
thank you, Debbie.
She
Debbie.
said, also worth noting that the girls were also around 5'4".
4. Yeah.
I think I read that Alan was only about 5'3", or is only about 5'3". So two girls about his same height
Yeah.
he's handling. by himself.
Libby was a little bit heavier than I think he was too. Almost, I think she was like 160 or 170. So that's a big body for him to be pulling around. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what I find strange. There was no fight or flight. It was just kind of do what I say, take off your clothes and let me stab you in the throat. That doesn't sound like normal girls. It doesn't sound like normal human behavior to just do what you. I mean, I know they're kids, but I would hope nobody's kids would just sit there and let somebody do that to them and without running or screaming or something. That's
So let me say this. You say that they were moved, right?
after they were. Yep, they were
Was there
moved.
any drag marks? If not, that means that there's two people that had to carry him in, right? And were they killed separately, right?
Doesn't say. It just said they were killed in one spot and then moved to another because of the lack of blood from the injuries. They said from the injuries, the evidence at the scene, there would have been obviously a big pool of blood, right? You
So
you, you
so
hit you hit the neck, it's gonna be a big pool of blood. There was no blood, so they
so
were they were slit someplace else and then
yeah.
moved there. So where? Right, like you said, they didn't mention anything about drag marks. Now I can only see what I can see. I didn't nothing. They didn't mention anything about drag marks. Nothing about blood. Nothing about anything about actually almost where they were found. But I don't think they were found that far off. I think it was only 10, 20, 30 feet. But
Well, you
um,
have to remember the health data on the phone only tracked movement around that area, right? But there was only one phone. If the two girls had phones, that showed two different types of health data.
right,
If they were both moved in different locations, and then whatever happened,
right,
multiple people, or whatever the case may be,
right,
I think there's more people involved in this. I really do. Or
yeah,
yeah,
There's a couple people in the chat saying that one of them was clothed in the other
yeah,
girl's clothes.
yeah.
yes, yes. One was naked and the other one was wearing the other girl's clothes. Yes.
And hey guys, we got another $50 super chat from Don Burke. Once
Jeez.
again,
Thank
thank
you,
you so
Dawn.
much. She's letting us know to watch tomorrow. Lee and I think Andrea and Bob are
Oh,
doing a live. They're all lawyers.
okay.
Yeah, and they're
Yeah.
doing a hell of a job, man.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they got to
Dark
get in
Willow.
line every morning. They got to set up at like 3, 4 in the morning and go get in line because they only let in like 22 people and that's it. So you have to be there first in line. Yeah.
Dark Willow just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you,
Well,
Dark Willow, and
thank you, Dark
welcome the
Willow.
5 new members. So just
Thank you. AKA Tina King. See. She's trying to pull a fast one. Changing the name.
so Lele says, y'all are missing it all. Shake my head.
Yeah.
Y'all are what?
So she says we're missing it all. So she must know things that we don't know. Don
Well,
Burke.
who really does know?
Yeah, nobody knows except the people in
Nobody
the courtroom.
knows,
Yeah.
right? Even the people in the courtroom, the people that are watching, they don't get to see all the videos. They don't. It's only the jury and
Mhm.
the counsel that get to see the videos and the pictures. Now there was I can't remember her name. She's a great report investigator, and she had an artist go in with her, and she was making pictures of what they saw, and that's the only information that's coming out.
Yeah.
I take it Brian and I are a couple days out, but you know what? We have jobs we have to work at. It's hard for us to watch these, hours and hours of information. We're just trying to give you guys our perspective of what we know as law enforcement officers, not as attorneys, not as coroners, but just of what we know,
Yeah.
right? I would love to see what the crime scene looked like. I would love to see what the police actually interactions with this guy,
Oh, yeah.
right? That would
Yeah, I
give
could
He
us a
wanted to
spend.
see the
whole different
darn
perspective.
crime scene for Karen Reed. If they had photos, that would have been nice too.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
didn't
like
even do anything.
Don Burke.
Crime scenes tell you everything. We could spend hours at a crime scene and tell you a lot of what happened.
Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Don Burke sent a super chat, $2. Thank you, Don. No drag marks, which we talked about.
Yeah.
And Homegrown Alligator sent us $2 Australian. Howdy from Australia. Keep up the good work.
Thank you
Thank you
from
guys for the
Australia.
super chat.
Thank you, alligator.
You
Yeah.
know, these let me say this, Steve, Brian. These court cases that we're doing, you almost have to be at the right place at the right time to start at the very beginning. It's like being
Yeah.
a cop. When you catch a robbery suspect, you don't catch him after the fact. You catch him, try to catch him. The best time to catch him is when he's doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
we're late on the response, but we're doing our due diligence. By gosh.
Well, yeah, I mean, if in a
Well,
perfect world and we were all retired and we were all rich, we would fly to Indiana when this started and we would be live every day with updates. But it's an imperfect world. It's not realistic. We can only
Yeah.
do what we can do. And yeah, but when we dig into something, we dig pretty deep. We do our due diligence to try to get what we can out. Somebody or my wife would say, "What would we do if we arrived on this scene?" So that's actually a great question. What would we have done? We get a call, Gonzo. Two kids found, let's say, out here in the Vegas desert area. And we don't. Do we have a witness? Do we have a witness? I think it really wouldn't be. We approach everything the same with that question. It would be tape, evidence tape. Protect the evidence, protect the scene, and everybody's coming. Everybody in the world's coming. CSI is coming. The detectives are coming. Homicide's coming. Um, yeah, it would be. That's a big deal here in Vegas. Two dead teenagers is a big deal.
Let me start from the beginning before that, Brian. When you get that call, you have to mentally prepare yourself because you and I both have kids.
Yeah, yeah. You got to
And
be mentally prepared just for what you're going to see. Correct.
and I can tell you from personal experience, I have gone to a scene like this, right?
Yeah,
Not necessarily exactly like this, but just involving young kids,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's to begin with, it's horrific
Those
because
are
nothing
the
like
worst.
this should ever happen.
Yeah, yeah,
When you see a body that's been completely depleted of blood, it's a different kind of white.
yeah,
It's a white that it's ghostly,
yeah.
and that stuff kind of sticks with you, but you can't let it affect your job. Your job is to find out how these kids ended up here and who did it to them, right?
Correct.
As
Yep.
you and I, as police officers, we're only limited to a certain amount of investigation, right? The crime scene is well, actually the victims are our number one priority. The crime scene is the second priority, and
Mhm.
detaining any witnesses that we have for the investigators to talk. Now, after we do all that, we're looking around to see if there's any surveillance cameras in any neighboring homes. If it's in the desert, right? We're gonna go. We're gonna send me or Brian's gonna go back down the road and see who has cameras, either direction,
Yep.
and maintain whatever we can as far as crime scene integrity, but with one person. But we can do it. We've done it. But
Mhm.
one guy is going out and getting everything ready for when the homicide detectives to say, hey, this is what we got at this address, this is what we got at this address, and this is what we have at this crime scene. No
Yep.
witnesses or maybe possible witnesses.
Yep.
And from then on out, we just maintain that scene until we get cleared. And homicide's running their show.
Yeah, and homicide will do their thing. Yep.
Yep.
That was a good question.
So it's a tough call. I feel bad for those law enforcement officers that had to go to that scene because they who knows, they might have known these girls, you know. In a small town like that,
Yeah.
I grew up in a small town like that. There's only 2,300 people, and I knew the cops, and the cop knew everybody,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. Hmm.
So
hey guys, we got some more activity.
that
I forgot to mention at the beginning, and I apologize. We got a Venmo from Laurel August, $20.
Oh yes, thank you,
Venmo.
Laura.
She said, help to keep things going. Love the show and
Yeah,
all of you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
people kept asking if we have Venmo. We do have Venmo. The guys, I don't know if the guys want me to bring it up or not, but we're really hoping we can get out east soon. So thank you, Laurel August. That's helps contribute to our fund to actually get us out there and see some of the places that we've been talking about in some of our other videos.
Yeah, for sure.
We got some more. Dark Willow, who's now been a member for a month. She says, y'all aren't missing everything. It's a lot to take in. Y'all rock.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dark Willow.
We're doing our best.
Another one from Dawn Burke, another $10. Thank you.
She must be breaking into her
said-
kids' piggy banks.
I think this was you, Gonzo. She said you would not want to see this crime scene. It's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it. Trust me.
Unfortunately, we've seen it. We've seen it.
Yeah.
Another one from Mag in Florida for Karen Reed. $5. Thank you. She says Mo
Thank
in
you.
the Deep channel is doing massive dive on this. Check her playlist out.
Who is it?
Mo in the Deep.
Okay.
All right. Mo in the deep.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting that there's no video, and we've got like Andrea in there, so that's awesome to get the information in this.
Hey, Steve,
terrible case.
Brian.
Yeah.
Check this is maybe somebody in the chat could help us out here, but I would really like to talk to one of these attorneys that's been there from day one to see if there's any. What was the police interaction? That's what I really want to dig into. You know, that's what I want to know. And these guys have been there since day one. They could probably tell us in a second what the police did, their interviews, when they're on the stand, what they said. I would like to know that myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to hear. I'd like to hear everything in this case. Maybe they'll make it public after it's said and done, and we get to see everything then. We'll see if Andrea's lawsuit comes through and they have to put out all the evidence that they have. So
That's what I'd like to
can see
talk to. I would love to talk to Andrea Burkhardt. She sounds like she knows her shit.
it. Yeah. Yeah. And it'd be nice. I mean, the media is there, but they can't really talk about it. But that's the whole reason the media is there, is the media is there to get the information to us, the people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When you can't do that, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we had a comment from Robert Vale about the donations, telling me to push Venmo. Yes, Venmo takes a lot less, but that doesn't mean we don't appreciate the super chats. It's your guys' money, and you don't have to leave the platform. So if you want to donate to us, YouTube is fine, Venmo is fine, Buy Me Coffee is fine. Venmo is the most advantageous for us, but I realize that you have to take the steps and go over there and all that. So if you want to donate to us, do whatever's best for you. We appreciate it no matter what. And along those lines, I think we got, well, it's not a super chat, but Classic Overthinker, who's now a member for 1 month.
Let's go right along.
Do you guys have thoughts on the Reed interrogation technique used on Richard Allen? Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't, because we can't see it. What does
Well, I
she
don't know if
mean?
that's a standard technique that maybe some departments use, and I don't know.
Well,
Listen.
everybody finds their niche. Every good lawyer, a trial lawyer, they have their ways of speaking. They have their ways of getting their thoughts across. They have their ways of leading people, like Action Jackson. You know, he leads you down one path, and then bam, he gets you to admit a whole bunch of stuff coming back the other way. So everybody has their techniques. Even in interview and interrogation, which is a class Metro taught, I had to take a long time ago, and you got to find what works for you, and then hone in on that, and then really develop it, you know, for court or for interviewing people. And the only way you get really good at it is by doing it over and over and over. You see what works and you see what doesn't work.
In the Karen Reed case, listen. They knew who Karen Reed was, and Karen knew pretty much all the police officers in some shape or form. You could use a tactic of the friendship stuff, right? Hey, Karen, I know you was an accident. I know you probably hit him. Did you hit him? You know,
Yep.
you could use that tactic to where you're befriending them, and he's talking to you exactly. I hit him, right?
Mhm.
But you're talking to him as a friend, and their guard drops, and
Yeah.
they'll more willing to tell you what they did or maybe they didn't do, but they're just trusting you. So tactics comes to the person you're talking to because you have to read them first. You read them, see what kind of angle you can approach from. For example, I would keep bringing up Lance Hardman because he was in the military, and a lot of people that we came in contact with were military. I wasn't in the military, Bryon was in the military, but when you know the lingo, it breaks the trust. I mean, it creates trust, and they open up more. So if you can find your niche with the person you're talking to, it makes your interrogation or your conversation much easier.
Mhm. That is true.
Yet Robert Vale says Read is a detective technique for interviewing. It's been
Mhm.
debunked.
Mm,
Read version 2 is still bad, but sadly still widely used. And with that, another super chat from LJ Arachnid. She wants to let us know Defense Diaries Bob Moda has been there since day one.
okay.
So another source. I think he's one of the three that's in your life
Mm.
Okay.
that somebody else mentioned.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you,
gonna definitely
Arachnid.
watch that. Thank you, sir, ma'am. Whoever.
Somebody.
Arachnid, LJ. That's she's a female.
Okay.
Don Burke, another $10. This case is steroids from the Reed case.
Well, it's when you have a small community and it's experiencing a traumatic situation like this, to especially girls, who girls are not supposed to be hurt by anybody, in my opinion, right? But that is a community shakedown right there, big time. And people want to get results, and they don't care how they get it. Just that they get. It's like burning a witch at the was at the altar there, right?
Yeah.
There's, I'm
Same.
not a witch, but you're gonna go down anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully they got the right guy to burn at the altar.
Yeah.
It
And
doesn't.
witches. They used to burn redheads just because they thought since they had red hair, they were witches.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You know.
The evidence that you and I see, Brian, there's nothing there that connects them besides that bullet. And that bullet, the way it was tested, it's apples and oranges. How one of the attorneys said it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're not saying he didn't do it, but I would need, yeah, I need to see all the evidence. I would like to see everything they have because I don't know, admission after 13 months of solitary confinement, no, and just a non-fired bullet in between them. Is that weird? Yeah.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
enough to say that he actually murdered them? I don't think so. No. So there has to be more. And we're not privy to that information right now.
Was their clothes wet at all? You know?
The girl who was wearing the clothes at the end, they were wet. So they actually walked through kind of a deep little river or
Okay.
embankment
Look, there's water there, running
or
water there,
creek.
right? Connect a
Yeah,
creek,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
you know how there's no lack of blood there, right?
Hmm.
What if they were unalived in the creek?
Yeah, could be. Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot of crazy things. Yeah,
A lot of
but it
things we
just
don't know.
yeah, but again, I go back to there's two of them, one suspect. Why wasn't there a fight? Why wasn't there defensive wounds on their arms if he's trying to cut them? Why weren't they why there was no fight for life? And a normal human being, when you get attacked, you defend yourself, right? You're not going to let somebody just sit there and do that to you and do nothing. You're not going to just sit like this and let them go like this and go, okay, now you're gonna be unalived. Okay, cool, thanks. It's against human nature. So why wasn't there any fighting involved?
Well, you would see signs of a scuffle, right? You would see footprints, and from what I understand, there was only like a partial footprints of a foot that was bigger than the girl's.
Right. So that means the suspect, right? So no defensive wounds at all. No, no, nothing. It's just weird. It's almost as if they were like drugged, like very quickly, and then that happened to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think there's any. I
I,
don't think they found any drug stuff
I
in
don't think
there.
they were. I don't think they
Yeah.
were, but I'm saying that's what it feels like. That's what it seems like,
Yeah.
right? Because like let's say one guy came at me and you, right? And there was no defensive signs, no nothing. What would people think?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, he must have drugged him because B and
Yep.
G, there's no fighting. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna just let somebody do that to me or you, right? So we're
There's
gonna
gonna be
defend
marks.
ourselves,
There's gonna be
right? So
marks.
there's gonna be some kind of something, right? There's nothing. So then that would people think, well, maybe they were Bryon and Gonzo got drugged beforehand and they couldn't defend themselves. So now I don't think they didn't find anything in their bodies. I don't think it just that's what it seems like just from the lack of fight or flight on
Yeah.
the girls, the teen side.
There's a question here that says, Brian, I don't understand why the second girl didn't scream and run when she saw the first Fred getting assaulted.
I agree. I agree, Robert. I agree 100%. Like, yeah, if I'm first off, girls or not, that's time for an ass whooping. A guy's gonna sit there and try to hurt your friend. You jump on his back, whatever you got to do, or run and scream and get help, whether you're naked or not. Um, I've had I'll give you a crazy story. Story time, people. True story. I'm driving down the street. It's about 8 o'clock at night one night here at work, and here comes a naked female, totally butt naked, probably 30 years old, 32 years old, running right towards my car. So I'm thinking, what the frig is this? Why is this chick running down the street butt naked? And she's freaking out. I can tell she's in total distress. So I'm like, holy shit. So just as that's happening and I see her running towards my car, I hear on the radio, all units be advised, we have a lady, she's saying she's trying to escape. She's being trafficked. So I jump out of the car. She runs up to the car. She goes, he's chasing me. He's chasing me. He's going to kill us. He's going to kill us. So my whole thing is get her in the car, right? And then I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm gone. I'm not staying and fighting with the guy. My job right now is to protect the female I have with me, right? Not to get the suspect, but to protect the victim. Turns out it was a big house. It was like a 5,000 square foot house over here in Southwest. And they were they were trafficking women. They had babies with them and that's how they were trying to keep them, but they were trafficking all the women. And it was a big, big deal. Detectives came out and it was a big case and it was a good attaboy for me, even though it was 100% by accident. The girl just came running up towards my car. But it does happen. But again, even see, she's a grown female, and this guy was saying he was going to hurt her, so she got out of the house and just ran down the street, totally naked. And that is acceptable when it's time to fight for your life. No one's going to care that you're naked. Trust me. So it's just odd that they didn't fight or do anything. It blows my mind. And I'm not saying they didn't because we don't really know.
Right.
I
The
would
thing is,
just
too,
expect to see more.
I'm still leaning to the part where if you're not gonna scream or fight if you know somebody, right? If they're going there to meet somebody, they don't know what's gonna happen. These
True.
kids, whoever it is, have it planned, right? They
True.
have it. They've been
Yes.
planning it for a while. I'm
Yes.
curious to know. I'm curious to know if they did a celebrite or a phone dump on the girl's phone. If there was any chatter between them and some other kids, hey, we're gonna be at the bridge on this day, or meet us here,
It
right?
could be. It could be. Yeah, my wife and I have been watching a couple cases where teenagers are killing their friends.
Yeah.
We just watched one where a girl killed her friend. Now, is it like are we saying it's like a pagan ritual or something? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it
Well,
definitely does happen. It definitely does happen. I've seen kids killing kids, for a long time. Remember we
well,
had that case here, the guy
Unbelievable.
remember when the homicide detective shot the fleeing felon in the back,
yep, yep,
and a lot of people were like, no, that's not acceptable, that's not acceptable. And in Vegas we were like, that's 100% acceptable. You know why? This kid tied up, he was 17, he tied up two 14-year-old kids and set them on fire.
yep,
He
yep,
burned them alive and
yep,
killed them. So then when he was in the back of the police car in cuffs, when he escaped, the detective said, if this kid escapes, he already said he's going to kill everybody that's involved in this. and he has already set people on fire. They shot him in the back twice. That was that.
Yeah.
B, you got to use unalive. You're gonna get us kicked off YouTube.
Yeah. Unalive.
I'm sorry, unalived.
I got some more super chats. Another one from Debbie W. She's talking about Elvis, I assume. Or no. Sorry, Richard Allen. He didn't start confessing until one, he had gotten his discovery, and two, he hadn't been given involuntary injections of Haldol.
Yep, they gave him that because he was going crazy in jail. The Haldol.
Somebody said, well, you said he was eating his own feces, but somebody said he wasn't eating food. He was intentionally not eating food?
He was skipping 3 meals. If you skip 4, it gets reported. So he's only eating 3 meals. I'm not sure if it was a week or a month or whatever it was, but he was skipping his meals.
Well, he was padding the meals with poop. That's acceptable. High protein. It's good for you.
Okay.
I do it every day.
Another super chat. It's a part of your routine. It's good for your skin.
It's good for your skin.
Super chat from Lizika, I think that's pronounced. $10. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ellie called off search night 1 a little after midnight. Temp was predicted to be below 32. There's a fast, deep creek and ravine. No drone, no dogs, and no search and rescue. Why call off the search?
Wow.
With temps, HTO equals life or death.
Well,
let me say this.
Get a little
Brian.
closer, Brian.
Sorry.
Let me say this.
I'm blind.
I did grow up in a small town, like I mentioned before, and as a kid, you run out of things to do, so you do some crazy stuff, right? I'm not saying that I would do anything like this, but man, and it's different times these days. You know, kids these days are subjected to so much more bad stuff via social media, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And it could be very well be easy enough to get coerced to do something like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if they would need to comb the area so much unless they're just looking maybe for doing like an article search for the murder weapon or something. If that was referenced the 2 girls, yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're not going to bring out search and rescue and all that stuff if they have the scene, they have the bodies. So you have the whole scene, you have it separated, right? So you have scene integrity. The only reason to go out of the bullseye a little bit is for an article search if you're looking for the murder weapon or any more potential victims, right? But if they knew it was just the 2, yeah, I could see them not wanting to do a lot of that stuff only because they think they have the scene contained. You know,
And they might not have the resources either.
yeah, they might not have with a town that small, they might only have 3-4 cops. So, you know, and half of them might be search and rescue and SWAT and homicide and everything else.
Yeah.
You know.
Another super chat from Mag in Florida, free Karen Reed, $5. Thank you.
Thank you.
She says, warning, they were hung upside down to increase blood flow exit.
No.
So now
behind that, well, along with that, Don Burke, $10. Why was blood flowing uphill? So that coincides with being hung upside down.
Yeah, everything that I read so far, there's no proof that they were actually hung upside down. But again, this goes back to the Odinism, right, pagan thing, where if correct, you get hung upside down and they slit your throat, yeah, you're going to bleed out a lot quicker. But it's also going to be a lot messier.
Yeah, but you also would have ligature marks on the legs, and they didn't have any.
If you're hung upside down, correct. Yeah, there's only so many ways they're going to hang you, from your knees or from your feet, right? So, and that would be tight because all your weight's on that. And then when the lack of blood flows, right? You're going to have the skin is going to stay contorted, right? It's not going to look the same. It's not going to fill back up with blood and stretch out. So it'll stay. So they would be able to see that relatively quickly on their legs after death for postmortem.
You were talking about having the bodies, so no search and rescue, but in the comments they're saying the bodies weren't found until the next morning.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Oh, so they're talking about search and rescue and everything the night they were missing.
Right.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. I misheard or misread it.
Well, the thing is we don't deploy somebody like that and for 72 hours unless they're having a medical issue or they needed to have be on meds. That's when we deploy
Yeah.
more people to
Right.
respond to a search and rescue or search.
Correct.
But if
Yeah.
they're healthy young girls, they're not going to call out the posse for that.
No.
The
Especially if we
age
don't.
doesn't play into that.
If there's no evidence of foul play, like because say a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old, let's just say they wanted to go to somebody's house for the night and disregard whatever their parents say and whatever. That happens, right? Just because two girls don't show up at home doesn't mean that they're instantly not alive anymore. You know what I mean? So they can take police reports, but again, like Gonzo said, we're not going to call out the cavalry if we don't suspect any foul play. Just because two teenagers are missing, for a couple hours, in Vegas that happens a lot. They go to friends' houses, they do this, they go out to the desert, they go riding, and whatever teens do nowadays.
Barbie Two Biz, she asked a question: arrest just before sheriff's election.
Mm, yeah,
That could play something, right?
yeah, convenient, right? All right, arrested just. Oh yeah, okay.
All right, where
Yeah,
are we? We're almost an hour and a half in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think we're
But
gonna start wrapping up here.
yeah, I'm very
Rob
interested
Beth,
to see the rest of this case. I can't wait till they make it public for us to dive into.
I'm gonna watch Mo in the Deep tomorrow, man.
Yeah, what time is that tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be working tomorrow, so
what is this?
we'll be together tomorrow, and then my
Yeah.
schedule changes next week.
Mary Flynn says the Delphi murders of the girls brought in a huge catfisher who went to Vegas with his
Sam
father
Catfish.
after.
This is publicity that town does not want to have. That's for sure. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
And the sheriff doesn't want the FBI's help because he wants to be prideful and say my boys can handle it,
Hmm.
right?
Sometimes, yep.
And they might be over their head on this one.
They could be. They
Send in
could
the
be.
Clown says I have. Sorry, I don't know if
Go ahead,
Send in the
Steve.
Clowns knows Andrea Burkhart. Um, I think you talked about wanting to talk to her. I think that's what this is in reference to. She's relaying
Oh,
your request to Andrea Burkhart. That would
Oh,
be a
awesome.
good show.
yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome to hear her take. But I don't know if she can tell us. Is she actually? She's in the courtroom every day,
Yep.
Yeah.
but she's not going to be able to tell us any good juicy details right until after.
I
Well, she
don't know,
does her
dude.
own show.
She does her own show. Let me tell you, she has line sitters, man. People volunteer to sit in the line 24 hours for her to get a seat. And from what I heard, got reduced from 24 seats to 17 seats.
Mm, yeah. So they're really.
So
It's really odd. Very
yeah,
odd.
yeah, going 6 days a week.
Yeah, and that's odd too. And they were saying they're skipping lunches and their breaks are real short and they're just making everybody miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand that, but yeah, it'll be nice to see when this all comes out where this
yeah,
lands. But they
yeah,
might just want a scapegoat. They might just want they want somebody to pay. They have, you know, two young girls that aren't alive anymore and somebody's going to pay
yeah,
for them. And
yeah,
sometimes the people don't care who it is. They just want to see somebody behind bars for it.
yeah,
Yeah, that
That's all
sounds
that matters.
familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
yeah. That
does.
sounds
Sounds all
familiar.
too familiar. Speaking of that, is there any other updates on any other things that we got going on? I think you guys talked about
Karen
the
Reed.
civil thing for Karen Reed. Did we talk about that one
Well,
Yeah.
already?
I think that
yeah,
was the poll to jury though. Today for the Supreme Court thing, that was the poll to jury.
Well, yeah, I heard they're delaying the
civil,
retrial until
civil.
April.
Well,
Yeah,
they
The
have to
civil
delay
they're going
that.
to delay till after the all the criminal trial.
Yeah.
But then I heard the criminal trial was likely being delayed as well.
Yeah.
yeah,
Maybe
because
till April or
it's in
May.
the Supreme Court right now. They're trying to figure out if they got enough to move forward on it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Another,
I don't think so, but
another super chat from WW. Thank you so much tonight. Very generous. $5.
Very.
Closing
Thank you.
arguments tomorrow, gentlemen. The jury will have the case tomorrow.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
that Delphi is closing tomorrow?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The defense
rested.
today.
Yeah, rested today. That's it. Game over. So that's why I said it would be nice to see in the coming weeks everything that they got to see.
Yeah. But I want to say thank you to all the ride-alongs tonight. I appreciate you guys joining us these late hours. I know we're sorry, but like Brian said, his schedule has changed, so we're going to be able to figure out something to work on a better schedule for everybody.
Correct. Yeah, we'll be able to do lives a lot earlier instead of at 10 o'clock at night your time, and we'll be able to do them at 6 o'clock your time. So it'll be a lot earlier, and it earlier for us too, so we don't have late nights as well.
Yep.
Stardust Guy sent us some donuts.
Thank you. I love donuts.
Thank
We
you.
love donuts. Thank you for the donuts.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert Bale. Lots of good comments.
Thank you,
I
Robert.
do see some new names. I see a lot of members. We've got some members that have been with us for over a month now.
Nice.
And then
Thank you.
for some new members, we had some members gifted today. So we've got some new ones tonight. So that's awesome. We're growing. Good job tonight, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you for joining us.
I'm going to check out, and you can have any closing remarks.
Thanks, Steve.
All
Well,
right.
B,
Well, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Interesting case. Like I said, I'm very anxious to see the outcome of this. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We know it's late. Again, my schedule's changing next week, so hopefully it'll make life a little bit easier for us and for you guys. So,
One more thing.
what's up, Steve?
We forgot to tell them to badoosh that like button.
Badoosh
Oh,
that
yeah.
like button.
Badoosh.
Hit that like button. I don't know what it does, but Steve says hit it. So, where are you at? There you are. Hit it.
Hit
Go
it,
like
hit
this.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you for your support. Thanks for always watching us. Thank you for the kind words. We really do appreciate it. It helps us a lot. This is hard. It's long hours, but we enjoy it, and we know you guys enjoy it. So
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. And hopefully with our new schedule change, we'll be able to be on top of things a little bit better for you guys. We apologize. We're behind the gun on this, but so
Yeah.
is everybody else, so is everybody else. Because just the way it's been put out there. So
Correct.
but thank you very much. We appreciate you. And B, send us out.
All right. Thanks for watching.
And for those still serving, have a safe tour of duty.
And make a difference in someone's life. Stay classy, Las Vegas.
Always.
Peace.
Peace.